Writing. There was once a teenage boy named Ethan who lived in a quiet little town where everyone knew everyone else. He was bright, healthy, and full of potential, but he had one habit that kept him from becoming the person he dreamed of being. Ethan was incredibly lazy. He loved sleeping late, scrolling through his phone, watching videos, and imagining a successful future, but whenever it was time to work toward those dreams, he always found an excuse to wait until tomorrow. Every morning, his mother called him several times before he finally climbed out of bed. His father had already left for work before sunrise, and his younger sister was always ready for school while Ethan was still searching for reasons to stay under the blanket a little longer. His parents never stopped encouraging him, but they worried that one day he would discover that life rewards effort, not excuses. At school, Ethan's teachers often praised his intelligence. Whenever he paid attention, he answered difficult questions with ease. His classmates admired how quickly he understood lessons. Yet his homework was almost never finished. His projects were always rushed at the last minute. During group assignments, others carried most of the responsibility while Ethan promised to help later. Later rarely came. His best friend, Noah, often tried to motivate him. "You could be one of the best students in our class," Noah said one afternoon. Ethan stretched lazily on the grass outside the school. "Maybe," he replied, "but there's plenty of time. I'm not worried." Noah smiled. "One day you'll realize time doesn't wait." Ethan laughed without taking the words seriously. A few weeks later, the principal announced an invention competition. The winning student would receive a scholarship, a laptop, and the chance to represent the school at a national event. The entire classroom buzzed with excitement. Ideas filled notebooks. Students formed teams. Even those who usually stayed quiet wanted to participate. Noah immediately signed up. "What about you?" he asked. Ethan shrugged. "It sounds like too much work." "You've got great ideas. I'll probably join next year." There was always a next year. Over the following month, Noah spent hours designing a simple machine that collected rainwater for gardens. Every afternoon he researched, tested, failed, and improved. Ethan watched videos online and told himself he would start tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became the final day. When the competition arrived, Ethan had nothing to present. He watched Noah confidently explain his invention to the judges. The audience applauded loudly when Noah won first prize. As everyone celebrated, Ethan smiled for his friend, but deep inside he felt disappointed. For the first time, he wondered what might have happened if he had simply started when everyone else did. That weekend, Ethan's grandfather came to visit. He was an old farmer who believed every lesson in life could be taught through nature. During a walk through the backyard, Grandpa handed Ethan 2 tiny seeds. "Plant these," he said. "What kind are they?" "One will become a shade tree. The other will grow delicious fruit." Ethan looked at the seeds. "Can't we just buy grown trees?" Grandpa chuckled. "We could, but then you'd miss the lesson." With little enthusiasm, Ethan planted them near the fence. The next morning Grandpa handed him a watering can. "Water them. Every day. Every day." For several mornings Ethan remembered to water the seeds. Then he became distracted. One morning he slept late. Another day he forgot. Soon several days passed without any care. Meanwhile, Grandpa planted another fruit tree in his own garden. Every sunrise he watered it, removed weeds, and loosened the soil around its roots. Months passed. Grandpa's tree grew taller and stronger until colorful fruit hung from every branch. Ethan's tiny plants had dried up completely. Looking at the lifeless patch of soil, Ethan sighed. "I guess they just weren't meant to grow." Grandpa smiled kindly. "No, Ethan, they were meant to grow. They simply needed someone willing to care for them every day." Those words stayed with Ethan longer than he expected. A few days later, Ethan wanted a new bicycle he had seen in a store window. His father smiled. "It's a wonderful bike, but we can't buy it right now." Ethan looked disappointed. "So I can't have it?" "You can earn it." His father helped him find small jobs around the neighborhood. The first job was raking leaves. After only 20 minutes Ethan leaned on the rake. "My back hurts." He went home before finishing. The second job involved washing a neighbor's car. Halfway through, he became bored and left. The neighbor hired another teenager who completed both jobs cheerfully. Watching someone else earn the money that could have been his felt surprisingly painful. Weeks passed, and Ethan still had no bicycle. Winter arrived with freezing winds and heavy snow. One evening the electricity failed across the town. Families hurried to prepare candles, blankets, and firewood. Ethan stayed comfortably on the couch while his father carried heavy logs through the snow. His mother cooked warm soup by candlelight. Even his little sister helped organize blankets for everyone. "Ethan," his father called. "Could you bring in another armful of wood? I'm tired." His father quietly returned outside. Later that night Ethan looked through the window and saw his father struggling against the cold, his hands red from carrying heavy wood. For the first time, Ethan felt ashamed. His father worked all day to support the family, yet he had refused a task that would have taken only a few minutes. The next morning Ethan woke before sunrise. Without being asked, he carried every remaining piece of firewood into the house. His parents looked surprised. His father smiled. "Thank you." Those two simple words made Ethan feel proud in a way he had never experienced before. Soon afterward, Ethan offered to help his mother bake bread for the local market. His first attempt was terrible. He spilled flour across the kitchen floor. He added too much salt. One loaf burned black in the oven. "I'm hopeless," Ethan said. His mother laughed gently. "No one succeeds on their first try." The next day he tried again. Then again. Each loaf became slightly better. After 2 weeks, customers began complimenting the bread he had helped bake. One elderly customer smiled warmly. "This is the best bread I've tasted in years." Ethan couldn't stop smiling all day. For the first time, he understood that the satisfaction of earning praise through honest effort felt far better than relaxing without accomplishing anything. Months later, another announcement echoed through the school. Students were invited to create a community improvement project. This time Noah walked over to Ethan carefully. "I'm going to ask anyway. Want to work with me?" Ethan paused. Every part of him wanted to say it sounded like too much work. Then he remembered the dead trees, the unfinished jobs, the missed competition, and his father's tired hands. He smiled. Yes. Together they planned to transform an empty corner of the town park into a reading area for children. The project required weeks of work. They collected recycled wood. They built benches. They painted colorful bookshelves. They planted flowers around the area. Some afternoons Ethan became exhausted. Sometimes he wanted to skip the work. Whenever those thoughts appeared, he remembered Grandpa watering his tree every single morning. Instead of quitting, he kept going. Slowly the project took shape. On opening day, families gathered around the new reading corner. Children sat on the benches reading storybooks beneath colorful flowers. Teachers thanked both boys for their dedication. The judges awarded their project first place. As Ethan held the trophy, he realized something important. The prize felt wonderful, but the greatest reward had come long before the ceremony. It had arrived every afternoon when he chose to keep working instead of giving up. From that day onward Ethan changed many small habits. He started waking up earlier. He finished homework before playing games. He organized his room. He exercised every morning. He helped neighbors without expecting rewards. His grades improved steadily. Teachers noticed the difference. His parents smiled more often. Even Noah joked, "I miss the old lazy Ethan sometimes." Ethan laughed. "I don't." Years passed, and Ethan graduated near the top of his class. He earned a scholarship to study engineering. College was challenging, but he no longer searched for shortcuts. Whenever assignments became difficult, he broke them into smaller tasks and completed them one step at a time. He discovered that discipline made hard things easier. After graduation he joined a company that designed environmentally friendly buildings. His creativity and determination impressed everyone. One day he returned to his hometown to speak at his old school. The students listened carefully as he stood on the same stage where he had once ignored opportunity. A boy in the audience raised his hand. "Were you always successful?" Ethan smiled. "Not at all. I used to believe tomorrow would solve everything. I thought wishing was enough. What changed? My grandfather gave me 2 seeds." The students looked confused. Ethan told them the entire story about the trees. He explained how one died because it was ignored while the other flourished because someone cared for it every single day. "Our dreams are exactly like those seeds," he said. "Talent is only the beginning. Intelligence helps. Luck sometimes opens doors. But none of those things matter if we refuse to do the work. Every small effort you make today becomes part of the future you're building. Every excuse pushes that future farther away." After the assembly, many students thanked him for his words. When Ethan returned home that evening, he visited his grandfather's garden. The old fruit tree still stood proudly, its branches heavy with ripe apples. Grandpa handed him one. "It tastes sweeter than ever," Ethan said. Grandpa smiled. "It isn't the apple that changed." "What changed?" "You did." Ethan looked at the tree and nodded. He finally understood that success was never built in a single day. It grew little by little through consistent effort, patience, and responsibility. Laziness had once stolen his confidence, his opportunities, and his dreams. Hard work gave them all back. From that day forward, whenever he faced a difficult challenge, he remembered the tiny seeds that taught him the greatest lesson of his life. Dreams do not grow because we hope they will. They grow because we choose to nurture them every single day, no matter how small the progress may seem.